Welcome back, guys. Fantasy Island, another edition of the Fantasy Island. We got all the boys back. We got Tony Serp Hoopalot. This is his new nickname for the show. And of course, you guys know Johnny Ballgame. He's back for another edition. And Fantasy Rolls-Royce in the house. First time I heard that one. Really looking forward to another episode. We're going to do this every week, so be tuning in. We got some nuggets for you today. Let's get it going.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
News and notes around the NFL. All right, so our first topic of the day is the news and notes around the NFL. And we got a couple little things to talk about. And the first, obviously, is going to be Aaron Rodgers. He actually attended camp today, showed up.
He did? What?
Did?
I hadn't heard.
Yeah, I barely heard, but anyway, yeah, he's back in camp. He got his way. He brought Randall Cobb with him too. Apparently, the Texans or whoever is going to trade him to the Packers for some a bag of peanuts and some corn. And so he's got his old buddy back, Randall Cobb in the slot. So to me, this signifies that Aaron Rodgers has probably got one more year left in Green Bay. And then they're probably going to trade him after the season. I think that's kind of like the little agreement they have. I'm going to start with you, Tony. What does this do for your fantasy expectations with the Packers now that you know Rodgers is playing this year?
Doesn't change a lot. Actually, I got them just like a little bit lower than I originally had them. When I say them, talking about Adams. I don't know what's up. It's just like last week. It's still kind of weird. Are they going to come in and just destroy it so they can both make this new life next year and go to whatever team they want and demand whatever money they want? Or are they going to be too big for their britches and fuck up and have an awful season? There's too much talent there for them to have a really poor season. I do have a little bit of a gut feeling, that is that there might be some animosity and there might be some headbanging between the staff and Aaron Rodgers wanting his way. Devontae Adams is a little bit arrogant right now, kind of backing Rodgers. So we'll see. But all in all, they're still probably going to put up some killer points.
And John, what do you think? Devontae Adams and Aaron Jones, are these guys moving up on your board now?
Yeah, I mean, like I said last week. First of all, I did say that I thought he would come back if he could void the last year of his contract and ask for a trade, which I thought was funny, but that's pretty much what happened. But I do. I moved Devontae back up. I move Aaron back up, Jones rather. I feel like Rodgers has enough of a chip on his shoulder that he's going to want to have another FU year. And Devontae is going to want to show that he is indeed the best wide receiver. I actually am moving him up way further in my rankings than I was, just because you see him coming back with the shirt, the office shirt, Kevin from The Office, on his T-shirt and his flip-flops, and he's just like, F you guys, I'm going to come in here and do what I do and move over, son. I think they're actually going to have a pretty great year now.
All right, I kind of agree with everything you just said, but Royce, what I really want to know is, does this affect the kicking game at all?
Kickers are not football players. Next question.
Okay. Just tell me what you think about the fantasy prospects on the offense for the Packers. Are you into Robert Tonyan now and the running backs? And what do you think the role is going to be for, like, A.J. Dillon?
A.J. Dillon. I like him. I liked him before all this craziness. Look, we all knew he was coming back. This changed absolutely nothing for me. You had him where you were, before this craziness, keep him the same. Dillon's a good player. He had a nice little breakout last year. I definitely draft him late, hold on to him, in case Jones goes down.
Yeah, I like handcuff.
I actually think it hurts A.J. Dillon a little bit because if they didn't have Rodgers, I think they would have really relied on the running game probably. And now I think Aaron Jones is the guy that's going to get more of the touches because he's going to catch more balls with Aaron Rodgers back in the fold. So I moved up Aaron Jones. I moved him up quite a bit on my list.
You know who I dropped down a little bit is actually Tonyan.
Yeah,
and here's why. Because they're bringing back old man Cobb, and I think he's going to get those short passes. He's going to get those things over the middle. and they're not going to throw to Tunyon as much. Where those are the passes that Tunyon would get. And so him bringing back Randall Cobb, which I still can't believe that that's a thing. I mean, seriously, I feel like this was one of Aaron Rodgers' ways of going, all right, I'm going to make a crazy demand and see if they take it. I want Randall Cobb back. Him and all of 595 yards he had last year. We need that guy. He'll put us over the top. There's no way he thought, that's the missing ingredient, everybody. Let's get to the Super Bowl. Bring Cobb back. It's just not a thing. So
I know that seems funny, but I honestly think Cobb's going to flourish with back in his old role in the slot with Aaron Rodgers. I'm not saying he's going to have
in that role when he left. His last year, he sucked with Rodgers.
Right, but he did have an injury-plagued season. He hasn't played enough to really get injured lately. He should be fresh, and Rodgers will pepper him. I think what it really hurts are the other guys not named Devontae Adams of the receiving corps. Those guys, they're going to take a back seat now, especially I forgot the white guy's name. What's his name?
White guy Packer.
Yeah, I think that's what they call him as white
Jordy
Yeah.
Nelson?
Yeah, Jordy Nelson. Yeah. But anyway, I think
that too, I heard.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are the guys that are going to take
James
the back
Jones
seat.
too.
Yeah. All right, let's go on to the next story, and that is Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson has no restrictions from the NFL. He showed up to camp. Now they're taking it easy with them because they obviously want to trade him and they don't want him to get hurt. But right now, he's not on suspension, and it could change. But what do you guys think? Will you even draft Deshaun Watson? Let's start with you, John.
No.
He's not playing. That's what you're saying?
No. And even if he is, who's he throwing to? I mean, that team sucks. There's not one person on that team I go, I got to get that guy on my team. I cannot wait to have a Houston Texan on my team. Name one.
Oh, they're all mediocre.
If. I feel like you're being generous.
Their entire offense is based on mediocrity. Whatever mediocre running back or receiver they could pick up in the offseason, they did that. So
they chose a coach who'd been a coach in the league for like 40 years, and this is his first head coaching gig.
Again, mediocrity. What do you think?
Shoot for the middle, Houston.
Tony, do you think there's any chance that Deshaun plays this year?
Yeah, I heard he's trying to bring in Ralph Macchio. He said if you get us another wide receiver. No, I think he might, but it's going to be a world of trouble. So I wouldn't invest anything. I might consider like a backup drafting him, but as for the NFL, man, he's in trouble. He's got too much baggage.
Royce, do you think he's got a chance of playing this year?
Remember this number, fellas, 22 civil lawsuits against him.
Right.
Okay.
And now criminal ones.
And now criminal. Thank you. 10 criminal complaints.
Yeah.
And do you know how many the NFL needs to believe to suspend him?
One.
Just one.
Yeah.
Just one. If they find he's at fault in just one of those civil or criminal lawsuits, then they can suspend him. And I'm hearing that it's probably going to be something between 6 to 8 weeks, which could end up being half the season. But there is a chance he'll be back.
I can't believe it's that short.
I know.
Yeah, I when I heard that, I was like, wow, I thought he'd get a whole year. But there's a pretty good chance he'll play this year. But will the Texans play him? If he does get suspended, I think they look to trade him or they just shut him down for the season anyways, and they're going to play whoever they have as backup, and then he's going to get traded in the offseason. So I'm not drafting him. I'm not even going to try to pick him up late in the draft. It's not worth my time.
No.
In this day and age, too, do you risk putting somebody out there like that with that type of reputation and whatever's going on? It can make the entire franchise and city look awful.
Yep. I
agree. All right, next story is Lamar Jackson. And I know a couple of you guys are really high on Lamar this year. But again, he's been I think he got tested for COVID-19 and he was found to have tested positive, which is his second time that's happened to him. And I think there was a leak from the coaching staff that he has not been vaccinated. So this is an issue with the NFL that's kind of controversial. As you know, there's a lot of rules against people that aren't vaccinated in the NFL. especially coaches, if you're a coach and you're not vaccinated, they can ask you to leave, and they won't allow you to coach.
There's been 3 coaches fired so far.
3 coaches have been dismissed, and now that could change in the future. But for the players, they can't get dismissed for not getting vaccinated. But man, there's some serious fines that could take place if they're not vaccinated and a COVID outbreak happens because of them. They could lose entire paychecks. So what I want to know from you guys is, do you think, first of all, it's fair that what they're doing to the players as far as forcing them or trying to force them to get vaccinated? And do you think it's fair to suspend or fine or not pay the players for outbreaks? I'm going to start with you on this one. We'll go Tony.
Wow. It's a tough question. One thing that I don't like is, like, I don't really feel that you can sit there and fire a coach and not fire a player. Technically, I know the players are more important than a coach, right? They bring in a lot more revenue than money and fans than a coach does. So that's a little contradicting itself. I'm personally not. I'm a vaxxer, so I'm good with it. But I've always been shooting up a lot of stuff. It's my style. But having a bunch of guys rolling around on the field sweating on each other could possibly be unsafe. But I kind of look at it as a group thing. There's a lot of teams in baseball, a lot of sports are saying, hey, that's your deal. We need to agree as a group. So to be pointing fingers at 1 or 2 or 3 players, dude, it's such a touchy subject because we really don't even know what is going on with the virus to begin with. So do I think it's really fair in general? Not really. But selfishly, I want everybody to stay as healthy as possible because I want to watch the games. So I'm for whatever it takes. If science is saying that it's possibly better to keep everybody healthy, everybody needs to get shots, so on and so forth, because I'm selfish. Let's do it. Keep them on the field. But it's a really tough subject.
Royce, what's your take on that?
I agree with everything you said there. It is a touchy subject. I think maybe since he plays with a team as opposed to, say, an individual sport like golf or tennis or something, we have protocols for golf. If you don't want to be vaccinated, I can stand 6 feet away from you. With football, I'm a running back. I'm not vaccinated. Well, you're not going to tackle me. It's just, I think it just hurts your team too. I mean, you're taking money out of these guys' paychecks. Games may not be made up. There's playoff implications, which again goes into money. But it is a touchy subject. It's whatever your feelings are about getting vaccinated or not. So.
And John, do you find any of this fair?
Oh, here's my thing, and we could get off on a rant here, and I don't want to do that because I certainly could. They keep saying, well, you got to follow the science. There's just as many scientists and doctors who say that this shot's not good for you as the ones who say they are. The CDC is controlled by the guy who had the lab where this whole thing was created. So you could make any argument you want to on whether or not it's fair. I don't remember the last time I got fired or had my job threatened when I didn't get the flu vaccine. I don't remember that. So, hundreds of thousands of people die from the flu every year. So
all right, it's getting political. I disagree.
Yeah, I know. I just
Midwestern white boy. No, I'm kidding. I hear you though. Those are both great arguments, and that's what makes this very difficult because I think it's a matter of opinion, and the biggest problem is that I respect you guys' opinion. If I want to wear a mask or get a shot or whatever, like Brooks is a douche. Fine. It's not like you're hating me or you can't hang out with me or whatever. There's ways that we can all be safe and respect each other's space or whatever.
Right.
And it's tough when it comes down to contact sports, especially me because I get sexually aroused sometimes, and that's why I quit sports or whatever. I'm just saying, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So again, I just don't think that someone's livelihood should depend on a vaccine.
I agree. And my thing is, even if you have been vaccinated, you're still going to get the COVID variant. It's already happened to several people in sports. Now the actual spread rate might go down if everyone's vaccinated, and the people that are vaccinated might have less symptoms, but it's still out there. So I really can't see people losing their jobs over a choice. So, and I feel the players' pain. There's a lot of players that have spoken out about this, especially Beasley over in Buffalo. But I don't want to make this political, so we're just going to move on to the next topic because we could talk about this all day and we'd all have like good points. So anyway,
that's a tough subject.
It really is. And the last story that I really want to touch on, it's kind of upsetting to me, is Michael Thomas. I know a couple of us were kind of high and hoping he'd have like a comeback year, especially with Jameis Winston if he wins that job. But Michael Thomas decided to try to rehab his injury all during the offseason, and he chose to have surgery in June. So now he's out for probably the first 2 months of the season, and he may never be right, to be honest. How do you feel? I'm going to start with you, Royce. How do you feel about how Michael Thomas handled this whole situation?
He's an idiot. I mean, but
how do you really feel, Royce?
Fantasy-wise, though, I mean, everyone had Kamara in their top 10. I think this just gives him more touches, more looks, more everything. Kamara's going to be beast. I moved him up to like 3 after I heard that, to be honest with you. I like him that much after Thomas. So,
yeah, I didn't even think of that. That's a good angle right there.
Yeah.
Does that make you happy, John? This guy Kamara could move up the board? Do you agree?
Here's my worry with Kamara moving up the board. First of all, I still don't know who his quarterback's going to be. And second of all, I'm worried that they don't have anybody to take pressure off of Kamara. Like that's all they're going to be focusing the defense on is Kamara. So I'm almost a little bit on the opposite side. I mean, they signed Chris Hogan. Last time Chris Hogan was relative. That was news out of Saints camp this week. Yeah, we signed Chris Hogan to take Michael Thomas's place. Oh, thank God. Now we got somebody to the rescue. But yeah, I just worry that they're all just going to key on Kamara the whole time, like they did when, what's his face stepped in as the quarterback.
Tony?
Well, I kind of feel the same way, but Chuck, we've been discussing this for a couple of years. Like, why are they not force feeding the ball to Alvin? Come on, dude. There's just games where you're like, why not give it to him? And there's other games where he just, tees off. If he stays healthy and they give him the ball a lot, it could be a good thing. But like John said, if he's giving it too much, you're talking about possible, injuries or nobody getting his back. He's going to wear down. So we'll see, but it's more heartbreaking because I think Michael Thomas is probably my favorite wide receiver in the NFL. I loved that guy for a while. Like I got excited watching him, whether he's on my team or not. And it's disappointing and heartbreaking. And I don't know what he was thinking or who made these decisions, but he thought he could probably stomach through the pain and made a bad decision. He got the surgery.
Well, so I was listening to a coach who said a lot of times they get advice of let's not operate. Let's let it heal by itself. Let's see how it does. And then they get close to the season. They start practicing again and working out. And they realize, you know what, it didn't heal the right way. And now we're going to have to do surgery. So it may not have been his fault. It's just because he was kind of an idiot last year. Now you go, okay, you transfer that idiocracy over to this one. and it's possible it wasn't. It's possible that it just was what it was. So I'm not completely down on him. I think he'll come around. I think he'll have his surgery and he'll recover. And if he falls to me in a later round, I'll take him and stash him on IR and be pretty happy towards the end of the year. Yeah,
especially leagues that have IR slots. That's you draft him maybe the 10th or later rounds and you just throw him on the IR and potentially in the second half you could have a monster. But I tend to every time guys like this that miss half the season try to come back during the season, it never really works out. They're never really
they pull a hammy.
Yeah, immediately they usually get hurt afterwards. So I'm probably going to stay away. But if he falls far enough, hey, everyone's got value at some point, right? So,
yeah. Sure.
NFC West Divisional Breakdown.
All right, guys, we're going to move on to our breakdowns. And this segment, we're going to do the NFC West Divisional Breakdowns. And what we've done is we've all taken a team, each one of us, and in the divisions for the NFC West and the AFC West. Right now, we're going to start with the NFC. And the first team, obviously the NFC West is the LA Rams, San Francisco 49ers, Arizona Cardinals, and the Seattle Seahawks. So we're going to start with the LA Rams. And Tony, you're tasked with the Rams breakdown. It's your show, brother. Go to work.
Okay, let's get this started. Forgive me, I have some notes because there's a lot of stats here that I couldn't memorize. If it's not the Bengals, I Do I really know Bengals stats too? Unless it's like Icky Woods, I guess I should shut up. But Stafford is Stafford. We all like him. We all know that he's talented. He still is going to throw 4,000 yards, in my opinion. I think he's going to do well. And we were talking about last time. What was it? Henderson. Without Akers. Again, I'm gonna talk about the few games that he was in. Is he super dynamic? I don't know. But in the games he played, 4.8 yards per carry, 12 per catch, and 6 touchdowns under 5 yards. So if he plays consistently and he's got a good amount of talent behind him, their running game I think will be fine. You take Bobby Trees, right? Amazing dude, and I know Chuck loves that guy. Didn't you date him in like junior high or whatever? I mean, he's amazing. And
he touched me inappropriately. Yes, so
again, times, yeah. And he's also friends with what's that guy? What's that actor's name that used to look Spacey? He used to hang out with him.
Kevin Spacey.
We're good friends. You got Cooper Kupp. I don't know what Kupp's going to do this year, but it's not like he's a slouch. I don't know what kind of how he's going to do with Stafford in general, but. We don't know. We got to see. And I love that guy they drafted, that Atwell kid. He's a tiny dude that's super fast. What is he, like 5'8" or 5'9" or something? But super super fast. And then my boy Deshaun Jackson.
Deshaun!
He's going to be guarding all the top 3, and he's going to go long. And Stafford needs that guy. Yeah. I mean, he's going to put 2 games where it's like 300 yards and 3 touchdowns, and you'll never see him again. And that's what he'll break an ankle or whatever, but we need him for that 2 games. Higbee, again, decent, above average, in my opinion. Got to build that rapport with Stafford. But there's 2 things that are really important. First, obviously the defense. What are they ranked number 1 for some people? I guess you can argue maybe number 2. But they are badass, dude. I mean, Aaron Donald, oh my God. I mean, he's definitely a defensive. Well, he's MVP overall, in my opinion. But and their offensive line is being improved. So they got 3 guys that are like 6'7", 6'8", 330, 340 pounds. I mean, I think they're a very developed team. And I think they're well improved. But your main downfall is going to be the division. I think they have the potential to pull it off, but if the Seahawks, Cardinals, whoever show up, 49ers, I mean, shit, that's the toughest division in football, in my opinion. So, but overall, I like them, and I think it comes down to Stafford. Stafford mixes well. They are going to be a force. They're going to be a hell of a team.
John, do you agree with Tony as far as Stafford, and where would you rank Stafford as far as your quarterbacks?
I like Stafford. I liked him better when I thought they were going to have a little bit better running game. I like him in this offense, and I like him with the coach, McVay. But I don't know. Maybe he might crack my top 10. Like he might be right at the bottom of my top 10. I think.
I know we
as a backup. I'll tell you that much.
Absolutely, but we teased Tony about Jackson as his sleeper. But honestly, I think that guy is going to bring some important stature to the Rams. When he's going deep, that leaves Bobby Trees and Cooper Kupp open over the middle, and Higbee. And honestly, I actually do think that Tony's right. He's going to probably have 3 or 4 explosive games and then break his leg. But that will be important for those games.
Explosive plays where he goes downfield for a 10-yard gain. Congratulations.
You said he's going to go deep on Bobby Tree. I like your thinking.
It got weird.
I do think he's right, though. I'm starting to like Jackson just a little bit as a last round kind of guy, 15th, 16th round.
I'm telling you guys, don't forget about my boy Funk.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, right.
The rookie. Don't forget about him.
That's true.
Damn right. Functified. All right, we're moving on to the San Francisco 49ers and Johnny Ballgame.
That's mine, and I will be looking at my notes as well. So
you get to pump Garoppolo.
Yeah, I gave the quarterback room a solid C+. Listen, Jimmy G, I like him. Actually, I think he's a pretty good quarterback, and he does win when he plays. He just never freaking plays. So if he can stay healthy, he's got great weapons, and I don't hate him. Like I'd consider him a late round what the hell pickup if I was going that way. I don't think Trey Lance sees the field this year. I just don't. And then you look at the other two quarterbacks, Josh Rosen. I think we all know how that went. And then Nate Sudfeld. I just wrote the note, who? And so my running backs, I actually gave that a group of B plus, and not because I don't think they'll get yards. They'll get a ton of yards. They just never have the same starter, so you never know who to play, right? So Mostert's probably their most explosive guy. He's probably the starter. He can have monster games, and then the next game he'll get 30 yards and 2 catches or get hurt, which he does a lot. But he's kind of a mid-round pick for me. Love the rookie Trey Sermon. I'm an Ohio State guy. And I saw what that kid can do, and I think he will end up being their long-term starter. I think he's pretty phenomenal. Jeffrey Wilson and Wayne Gallman are just kind of, be begging for the scraps, and one of them will probably not be on the team. The wide receiver group, though, I love. This is a young, talented wide receiver group. Ayuk is just ready to bust out in a big way. I think that guy's 4th or 5th round probably in the draft, maybe earlier. Debo would be the same thing if he could stay healthy, but again, you don't know what you're getting with Debo. But he's a gadget guy. He's fast. He's good. He's got great hands. They've got another young guy named James Ritchie I like a lot, which I might late round stash him. They've got Mohamed Sanu, which I didn't realize he was still playing, and Travis Benjamin of Charger fame a couple of years ago. Mm-hmm. I don't think they're going to get a crap ton of receivers or receptions from those guys, but I love the top 3. I'm okay with their backups. Tight end, you got Kittle, and again, if he could stay healthy, but you could say that for almost the entire 49ers team last year. I don't think I've ever seen a team bitten that much by injuries. But God, George Kittle, when he's right, he's really right, and he's a beast. So defense, they're going 8th off the board. I looked at a lot of the mock drafts that have been going on and real drafts that have been going on early. I think somebody's going to get a steal if they get that defense at 8. They've got some monsters coming back. There's some real that front 7 is as good as anybody's front 7, and the deep backs are young, but they're going to be pretty good too now that they got rid of Richard Sherman. So. I think that's a dangerous defense if somebody gets him at the 8th spot. So I like them. It's funny because I also have the Broncos in the AFC West, and to me, it's about the same thing. Questions at quarterback, pretty good group of running backs in the middle that are going to probably be a combo, and then really great wide receivers and a great defense. So.
And do you think Mostert is going to be anything for the 49ers this year? What's your gut on him?
I think he's going to be the starter, and I think he's going to have a couple of monster games and get everybody excited like he does every year. And then he's going to get hurt, or then he's going to lose his job to Trey Sermon. So I'm not sure. Like I said, I've got him as a mid-round pick because he'll tote the rock a lot in the early part of the season. But my problem with anybody in the NFC West on the offensive side is they've got to play all the defenses on the defensive side. And
yeah.
Seattle's got a good defense. We just talked about the Rams have got a good defense. Even the Cardinals, who I think will probably be last place in that group, they've got a pretty good defense.
So we're going in order of the expected finish in the West. So yeah. It's funny you mentioned the Cardinals. I have the Cardinals, so I'll do them last because they're expected to finish last. Seahawks are expected to finish 3rd, and Royce was tasked to give us his breakdown on the Seahawks. So, Royce, it's your show.
Let Russ cook. Easy. That's it. He's 4,500 to 5,000 yards every single year. Pick him up. DK Metcalf, wow. This guy, I remember I picked him late, like in the 10th round last year. Did you guys know much about him? I really did.
Never heard of him.
And Metcalf.
I was just kidding. I was being funny.
Like, what was he? But anyway, his line last year was 83, 1,300 yards, and 10 touchdowns. The guy was a beast.
Monster.
129 targets. Russ loved him. Guy on the other side, though, Tyler Lockett, interesting year. He was a boomer bust guy. His line read like this. You'd be interested to hear. He had 100 catches last year. I don't know if you guys knew that. 1,054 yards and also 10 touchdowns. But a bulk
freaking great line.
Right. But the bulk of his games though came in three games. Three games, he had 37 points, 53 points, and 33 points.
Oof.
And the rest was like, Metcalf will take care of it.
10, 11.
Yeah,
8.
exactly.
Yeah. It's crazy.
So, a little more upside for him this year with Metcalf. He's not going on anyone's radar this year. I see double teams, so hopefully that'll open up for Lockett. Tight end I talked about last week is one of my sleepers. Gerald, don't call me Chris Everett. Like him a lot. Was with the Rams last year. Now he is the head guy in Seattle. Also too with Rush, remember he throws the most red zone looks in the red zone. He's going for the touchdown every time. He doesn't run that ball. He's throwing it in the end zone. So that's something to look for too. Running back Chris Carson, he's a bell cow. I got him just at round 15 off my list. I like him this year. Upside is he's going to catch the ball a little more. The downside, he's got to turn in a little more beast mode. Red zone, that's why I rushed through it so much. Red zone, he could not punch it in. If that changes this year, he's going to rack up a lot of points. Seattle D is the 11th easiest schedule in the book. Real quick, I stream my defenses. I don't know if you guys do. I like to stream them. I just do matchups every week. So I wrote down a few key dates. The 19th, they have Tennessee at home. Halloween is the Jaguars at home. And championship week on the 2nd of January, they play the Lions. So that's something to think about if you want to go ahead and win your division. Also, too, we got fans back. The 12th man is back. And Seattle is a tough place to play. Probably the toughest in the league. So defense-wise, yeah. So,
excellent breakdown. All three of you guys did a nice job for your breakdowns. That was really good. Impressive work. So now we have the Cardinals, and I got tasked with this boring-ass team who will probably finish last in the West. But actually, they're pretty exciting to me. I like the Cardinals. We got about 5 minutes, so I'm gonna bust through here. So there's a lot to like fantasy-wise offensively for the Cardinals. They run the NFL's highest-paced offense. They run the most 4 and 5 wide receiver sets. The offensive line has been beefed up a little bit. It's pretty solid. They're probably going to grade out in the top 10. So, they brought over A.J. Green to kind of spread the field with a cane, but still, we'll see what he can do. They still have DeAndre Hopkins. They've got weapons all over the field. Obviously, health is the most important for A.J. Green. Actually, health is most important for all the players. As you remember last year, even Kyler Murray was banged up with the shoulder problem for 3 or 4 weeks, I believe. So that kind of affected him. But as far as fantasy value goes, I'm looking at Kyler Murray first and foremost. You got Hopkins on one side, A.J. Green on the other, Christian Kirk in the slot. They also drafted this kid named Rondale Moore out of Purdue, who the Cardinals actually spent some high draft capital to get him. So I do think he'll slot in as probably the 4th receiver. And if there's an injury, he's going to come in there later in the season and probably pick up the 2 or 3 slot. I could definitely see him taking over for AJ when AJ Green, goes down with an injury like he always does. They still have Keyshawn Johnson and Andy Isabella in the mix. Those guys aren't draftable. They're still trying to actually convince Larry Fitzgerald to come back for 1 more year. We'll see if that happens. Either way, they still have a good receiving core. So I really like Kyler Murray's prospects. Chase Edmonds, James Conner coming out of the backfield as receivers. So yeah, Kyler's loaded with weapons. Last year, Kyler threw for 4,000 yards and he dropped in 26 passing TDs. That's pretty good. But what really makes him stand out is the dual threat that he is. He also rushed for 819 yards and ran in 11 more rushing touchdowns. So combined, that's 4,800 yards, 37 touchdowns, and he played the second half of the season with an ailing shoulder. So I know Johnny Ballgame said he really doesn't like Kyler Murray this year, and I'm going to go against his instinct, which is probably stupid, but I love Kyler Murray. He finished as the quarterback 6 last season in our scoring system. This year, it's going to be his 3rd year in the same exact system. And in my opinion, this is going to be his best year. So I think he's capable of leading the league in points. He's very capable of that. But I think he'll probably finish in the top 3 or so. That's my gut. Now, looking at the Cardinals' backfield, I am a fan of Chase Edmonds. And now that Drizzy Drake is gone, that should give him a little bit more use. However, I am concerned that they brought in James Conner Both of these guys both of these guys are injury prone, and Connor perhaps got brought in to play like the Drake role. Maybe it's God's plan to continue to use Chase as that passing down back, and use James Conner at the goal line in the short yardage situation. So that takes a little bit of value away from Chase Edmonds. And at his current ADP, I think I would pass on him. If he fell a few more rounds, possibly, then I would think about Chase. But I think it's a timeshare. Honestly, I do. Chase has never actually been a bell cow for more than a couple weeks. He usually gets banged up, and that's that. So at receiver, you can't go wrong with DeAndre Hopkins. He's going to finish top 5 like he does every year. Other than Hopkins and Christian Kirk, though, there's no one worth drafting at the wide receiver position. Adriel Jeremiah Green is just another name now, and probably should be on the fantasy reapers list, which we'll learn about here in a little while on the show. And at tight end, there's Max Williams, but he's been double mediocre in his time in the NFL so far. And the Cardinals don't really use the tight end much. They use those 4 and 5 receiver sets a lot, so I don't expect much from Max. He's not draftable in my eyes. The only other viable draftable fantasy option for the Cardinals is the defense, which can be opportunistic, but I don't like who they're playing in their division. I don't like their schedule. However, I do like adding J.J. Watt. That helps bring them a serious pass rush. And they have Chandler Jones returning from injury. And they got one of my favorite defensive players with a great name, Buda Baker. I love this guy. I love saying his name. So they do have some streaming appeal. But other than that, that's my profile on the Cardinals. What you guys think?
So my biggest concern with Kyler Murray is that he plays 6 games against the other teams in the NFC West. And those are beasts. It's Rams twice. It's the 49ers twice. It's the Seahawks twice. And all those defenses are just so good. And if you looked at Kyler's numbers from week, 13 when he got injured, 12, something like that. After that, he stopped running. He wasn't throwing very well. So he got almost all of his points toward the beginning of the year. And I just wonder how much that's going to carry over, because he did stop running once he injured that shoulder. He was not taking off like he used to. He wasn't punching him in the end zone and stuff like that. So that's probably my biggest concern with him. I thought all the rest of your stuff was really fantastic and spot on. So, and I think they want Fitzgerald to come back because they didn't want AJ Green to be the oldest guy on the team. So, confidence thing.
What happened to that? Is it Isabella?
Andy Isabella? Yeah,
he's still there.
He's decent, I think. I mean, I thought he was going to be. He's cute.
He's certainly average.
He's a special teams kind of guy and a gadget kind of guy. He's not. The only way he would get significant fantasy value is if a couple guys went down to injury. They drafted that kid out of Purdue, so they're looking to upgrade at the wide receiver position from Isabella. So I wouldn't put much stock in him.
Top 5 rankings. No kickers.
I kicked it all!
Oh shit, my knee!
We're gonna do our very early fantasy football rankings at all the major fantasy positions, even the defenses, but we're not going to do kickers. Tell them why.
Hell no. Because kickers aren't football players, as Royce likes to say.
Right.
Tony, what are kickers? What kind of players are they?
Soccer player.
That's right. They're soccer players. The only guy we ever talk about that's a kicker is Martin Gramatica.
I kicked it all!
Because he's hilarious. But other than that, no kickers. Not on Fantasy Sports Island, all right?
Right.
All right, so let's do the least fun category first. So what we did is I had everyone rank from 1 to 5 their top guys at each position, and then I averaged them out, and we came to a consensus of rankings. And we're going to start with the most boring, which is the defense. And so this is how it came out. At number 5, we all agreed that the Bucs defense is top 5 defense. The Ravens came in at number 4. The Washington football team's defense came in at number 3. And we had the Rams at number 2 and the Steelers at number 1. So I'm going to start with you, John. Do you have any problems with that? Did you go in a different direction on your rankings?
The top 3 are exactly the way I did it. I had the Bills and Broncos, though, in my top 5. I think they're both going to be phenomenal. I think the Broncos are completely underrated, and Dick Fangio's their head coach. So
True.
good to yeah.
Tony, any discrepancies for you?
I have Rams just edging out Pittsburgh. I think they're the number one defense.
That's a potato right there, right?
Very
Yeah.
similar. They're very similar.
And Royce, how about you? Anything that you take offense to?
No, I like everything. I didn't have the Bucks. I had the Bucks at 6, and I had the Niners in there sneaking in at 5.
Yep.
Yeah.
My Niners are 6 for me. I didn't have the Bucks until like 8.
The reason why the Bucks finished in the top 5 is because I had them as my number 1 defense.
Hey.
They look strong. They look strong.
I remember my first year of ranking defenses.
well, they got everybody coming back too. Right?
They got everyone coming back, and they're a lean, mean fighting machine, man. I like the Bucks defense. I had the Steelers at 2, but here's a couple teams I had in the rankings that none of you guys had: the Colts and the Dolphins. I like those defenses a lot.
Hey, here's my thing. I think after you get past the top 2, which the Steelers and Rams are obviously that, right? I think your 3 through 10, you can put in a box and shake up. I think there's be like, maybe 5 to 10 points difference between those guys during any given week. So I think you could have done any of that.
Sure.
All right, let's move on to the next set of rankings, and I'll unveil our tight ends.
Oh, wait, I got to interject. To represent the Bengals, right? Because I'm pathetic, I know. I'm pouring beer in the coffee mug, but every time I go to look at myself, I'm going, I'm drinking like it's coffee. It's goddamn cold beer.
Put your pinky up when you drink, like tea,
Yeah.
Actually, I don't really just go like that.
All right, guys, let's unveil our tight ends. And coming in at number 5 was a tie for the 5th slot. It was T.J. Hawkinson and Logan Thomas, which surprised me. You guys, you can thank Johnny Ballgame for getting him in there because he likes Logan.
I do.
By the way, it's not the superhero. You know that, right?
Oh, wait.
Yeah. You want to change that?
Okay. Yeah, I need to change my rankings.
And then we have Mark Andrews at 4, which is about right. And the top 3 is going to be the top 3 in almost everyone's. It's Kittle at 3, Waller at 2, and of course Travis Kelce is the number 1. Do you guys think that any of the guys that didn't make this list have a chance not only to break into the top 5, but maybe even knock off Kelce as the number 1 tight end?
Ooh, well, that's big words.
I think the guy from the Saints, and all of a sudden I'm blanking on his name.
Trotman?
Yes, that guy's going to break. He'll definitely be top 10. I think he's going to be right at that 5-6 mark. I didn't put him in because I was too chicken to do that. But
the only guy I like that I think could possibly do that is Noah. Or I'm sorry.
Fant.
Noah Fant. Thank you. He's big, and he reminds me of Travis Kelce because he's big and fast, and he's tough and physical and all that stuff. The only thing is he's a little bit soft. He gets hurt a lot, so I'm hoping he can kind of toughen up a little bit.
He breaks hearts every year.
Yes, he does. Do either of you two, Tony, Royce, do you guys have any additions to the tight end list?
I do.
Yep.
I have Pitts as number 5. Now, I should have discussed this last week as a gut. I love that kid, man. He's exciting to watch right now, and he hasn't even played. So, yeah, I guess it's a gut. I mean, maybe it's kind of stupid or kind of naive, but for him to make the top 10, for sure. But I really think he's going to go in at like 5. I think he's going to finish the season really strong. So we'll
I struggled with that one too, Tony. I thought about actually putting him in at number 5, and I thought that guy hasn't played it down yet. I need you to earn something, right? Like
right.
Yeah. So
typically tight ends as rookies, they don't really perform. Even Travis Kelce wasn't great his first year or 2. It takes him a little while. But Kyle Pitts is one of those freaks of nature. He's a big, strong dude.
Yeah.
He's almost like a wide receiver, almost like a Calvin Johnson type frame. So he could bust out. We'll see. And we do know Atlanta likes the tight end. Tony Gonzalez was there a long time. Yeah. So, and Matt Ryan's going to pepper him. So we'll see what happens there. Royce, you got anybody else you want to mention?
No, your top 5 is my top 5.
Excellent. Royce is, we're just going to call Royce Chalk from now on.
Pretty much it.
Can't go wrong that way.
Chalky Chalk. All right. Okay, now let's do some fun stuff. Let's get into the wide receivers. And we had some discrepancies between us, but the top 5 as it averaged out is pretty chalky, I think. Yeah, DeAndre Hopkins came in at number 5. That's makes sense. DK Metcalf at number 4. Tyreek Hill at number 3. Stephon Diggs at number 2. And now that Rodgers is back, Davante Adams finished number 1. What do you think, Tony?
I pretty much agree with that. I'm a huge Metcalf fan. I understand he's going to get double teamed and so on and so forth. But God, dude, he's such a badass, man. He's hard to stop. So, I mean, I definitely have him in my top 5. I have him at 3. But I also got Ridley at 5. He's exciting too, but I think you got Ridley and you got Pitts. Like, who's he going to throw to? Again, I'm talking about double teaming these guys, but I got Ridley at 5.
John?
I had Ridley at 3. So I love Calvin Ridley this year. Like, that's the guy. And I talked about it last week. But, the rest of the top 5 were pretty close to what I had. So,
Bryce, you good with? Are you chalk again?
I actually had Russell Gage. I'm just kidding. I do like Russell Gage. Don't sleep on him. No, I agree with you. Yeah. I chalky chalk. Yeah, same as that. Same 5.
I have one guy that I think is going to be in the top 5, Justin Jefferson. He wasn't on anyone else's list but mine.
Yeah, he's amazing.
He's definitely in my top 10 for sure. I love him. I had him last year. I loved him. Loved every minute.
I think he's going to sneak in there. Now,
you remember him, Royce, right?
Had him for 3 games last year.
The worst 3 games to have him, too.
Hey, Royce, I think you should draft Kyle Pitts, wait 3 games, and then drop him.
Cut him. That guy sucks.
Yeah, and then give it to the guy who's going to
I do the same thing with that guy named Devontae Adams. He's just
terrible
after 3.
Yeah. Slow starters are gone. I want my money first week. I'm not waiting. Yeah.
Put your money down on Gage.
Don't sleep on Gage.
So, Tony, you always pick Davante Adams, it seems, in all our drafts, and I'm always the guy that's like, I don't know if he's going to be as explosive as he was last year, but I'm not going to make that mistake again this year. If Davante Adams comes back to me, like, say, late first round, early second round, boom, I'm taking Davante Adams. That's your boy, right?
Yeah, you have to. He's incredible. I still love Michael Thomas, but I think Davante Adams was safer. This year, like I said before, I still am so confused on what's going on over there. Johnny brought up a important factor. They're just going to tee off. Like, they're going to get their shit together and they're going to destroy it. But on my end, I don't know. Something about that dynamic over there is making me nervous. There's just some questions in Green Bay. But again, I mean, it's stupid though. Like,
don't you feel like Aaron and Devontae are together now? Like, I'm going to just throw it to you every time. I'm going to throw it to you every time. I'm going to show them that you're the best receiver. And we're going to both screw them this year.
Yeah, that's what I think is going to happen. I think Devontae is just going to continue right where he left off. So I'm not even going to mess around with him this year. All right, let's go to the running backs because they're fun. So we had a tie for 4th and 5th place. And Henry from Tennessee snuck in there with Kamara. So these were the 4-5 guys. Ezekiel Elliott at number 3. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, no other show you watch is going to have Zeke in the top 5. But we do. We all agree that Zeke should be in the top 5. So that was interesting. McCaffrey finished at number 2 for us. I'm surprised. I thought he would be chalk number 1, but he came in at 2. And Dalvin Cook is our number 1 running back as a consensus. So, John, anything surprise you there?
No, because you literally just listed all 5 of mine. I have Zeke at number 2. So I have McCaffrey as number 3. I think Zeke is going to have just a monster year this year. Just
Tony, do you think when he started hyping Zeke that influenced us to kind of move him up on our list?
I'm not gonna lie, dude. I was just like, I got him at 5. Should I consider at least 4 now? It's fucking ball game,
It's gonna be awesome.
I'm not gonna lie. I definitely moved him up a spot or 2, no doubt.
Yeah.
One of these years, I'm just gonna have a shitty year, and you guys are gonna be like, "Ball game sucks." I'm never talking to that
all
guy.
Talking you up.
Yeah, exactly.
Royce, was this chalk for you as well?
Pretty much. I'll just throw something at you. It happens every season too. You think this is it? He's going to hit the wall. He carries the ball 900 times a year. I mean, Derrick Henry, right? Is that a question you think about every time you draft a guy? But then you draft him, and then he wins your league. I mean, I don't know.
Or you don't draft him like me every year, and you go, God damn it, I should have drafted that guy.
Exactly. I don't want to be that guy. If he's sitting there, I got to get him, right? I mean, I don't watch his workout.
I feel like he is. I agree with you though. He's a lot of mileage, a lot of
miles.
Tires. But God, he's just so good. He's just a freak of nature.
So good.
And John, that's your team. You're in Tennessee. Like you should be drafting that guy every year.
I actually really do like Tennessee, and it is because I live here and I listen to sports radio, and you just kind of get to know these people and get to know what's going on. I love watching that guy run. There's not a better stiff armor in the league.
Yeah.
You can go on YouTube and watch. There's entire videos dedicated to his stiff arm prowess.
Amazing, yeah.
It's just a beast.
He's a freak.
All right, guys. Let's see if you guys can guess the quarterbacks. I'm gonna go around the room and ask you. Let me ask everyone, who do you think the number one quarterback on our list was? John.
Mahomes.
What do you think, Tony?
Fucking Mahomes. Come on.
Okay, all right.
Come on.
And I know Chucky Chalk had Mahomes too, so yeah. He wasn't my number one, but Mahomes was the consensus number one on our list. So who do you think was two? What do you think, Royce?
Josh Allen.
What do you think, John?
Lamar.
Tony?
I got Lamar.
Josh Allen. It was Josh Allen, the number two. Yeah. He just squeaked out over Lamar, who finished on our list consensus third. So it was close. All right. Now I want to see who you think was number four. I think John knows already. Go ahead and tell me.
Dak Prescott.
Yeah, it's Dak Prescott. That one's pretty chalky there. But here's where it gets interesting at the 5. We had a 3-way tie, 3 different quarterbacks at number 5. We all had different opinions on this. So let me see if you guys – let me go with you, Tony. Who do you think was one of those 3 quarterbacks?
I got to go A-Bear, dude. Herbert. Herbie A-Bear.
What do you think, John?
Rodgers.
And Royce, what do you think?
Let Russ cook.
Okay.
So we all went with our own.
So Tony nailed it. Herbert was one of them. And then we had Royce. Sorry, backwards. Royce nailed it with Wilson. There's one other guy that made the list, Kyler Murray. So 3-way tie between Herbert, Kyler, and Wilson. So that's pretty interesting, I think, the way that unfolded. Now, is there any other quarterbacks that didn't make our top 5 that you think could jump up there and get in there?
Get in the top 5?
Well, actually, it's our top 8 since we had a 3-way tie at 5, or top 7.
Yeah, I mean, I actually think Stafford could.
Yeah, I was going to say Stafford.
That offense that they run, he could absolutely put up some monster numbers.
I personally think Baker Mayfield may do like a number 6. I think he's going to have a good season. I
do too.
Know about top 5, but damn close maybe.
I'll tell you who's got a possibility though, and again, I can't believe I'm saying this 2 weeks in a row, but a Bengal. Burrows, man.
Yeah.
I was waiting for someone to bring up Burrow, and there's one other guy. This is a test. This was one other guy I was thinking someone would bring up, but they haven't brought him up yet. And it's the GOAT, Tom Brady.
Sure, you can never count him out, but
not top 5 though.
Not top 5? He was top 5 second half of last year.
Yeah.
He's only 50.
I can't do it. I can never draft Tom Brady.
John, he's only 57. He's still got
I know. Thank you.
Young 57.
Fitzgerald goes. That guy's old.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Years we've been saying, I don't know about Brady.
I know.
8 years.
To hell with that guy. He's old. All right.
That sucks.
AFC West Divisional Breakdown.
All right, moving on to our divisional breakdown of the AFC West. And we've tasked our panel here with 4 different teams. We'll start with the Kansas City Chiefs. Then we'll go to the Chargers, the Raiders, and then the Broncos. First will be the Chiefs. Royce, take it away. You got the Chiefs, brother.
All right. Patrick Mahomes, quarterback, Texas Tech. Pretty good. Number 1, pick him, first round. You're under a rock for the last 10 years playing fantasy. Easy. Patrick Mahomes. Tyreek Hill, top 3 guys, would you say? Top 5? Absolutely. Still fastest guy in the league. He gets the most targets. He gets 12 a game. Last year had the 4th most air yards, and he had 15 end zone targets. So he's going first round too. But my sleeper, Miko Hardman. No Sammy Watkins. Get him in the 16th round and sit on him. Let's see. Who else do I got? Kelsey, number 1. Guy's 31 years old, though. He's getting the Tom Brady years, but the guy's number 1.
Tom Brady.
He's a beast. There's some talk. I don't know if you guys read this. Some talk about maybe doing a 2 tight end split this year in Kansas City. I don't buy it. I don't care. He's the best. Last year, he had the 2nd most points in fantasy football and tight end in the history of fantasy football. He's going first round too. The guy, wow. Right. Running back though, I fell into the trap last year. I picked up Clyde Edwards, Prince of Hilaire. Out of the gate, first game was like, this is the greatest pick ever. I mean, he was kind of poo. He had the bell factor. He got hurt. He finished pretty decent. I don't think he's a top tier, maybe bottom 1, top 2. If you guys are going to pick him up, I do like he's going to be the bell cow, and they're going to throw him the ball a little bit more too. So if he's sitting there 3rd, 4th round, I think you guys should pick him up. As far as defense, this was surprising to me. Last 3 years, Chiefs have been top 10 in points, so don't overlook them. That's all.
All right, excellent job. Anyone have any disagreements there with Royce?
No, however, do you find a good fantasy player on the Chiefs, though? That's a tough one.
Yeah. Probably the most fun team to do a breakdown on, too, because you just basically list all their players and say he's going to be great.
Yeah. I agree with you. What's that?
Just drop the conversation.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with you, though, on Clyde Edwards. I think he's going to have a better year this year, and I think they're going to throw him the ball a lot out the backfield.
I think so, too.
I also wanted to add one thing. Last week I mentioned we were talking about Tyreek Hill, and I said he's still in his prime and he's 29 years old. Well, I actually went back and looked it up. He's 27 years old, Johnny Ballgame.
Hey-o.
In the beginning of his prime, and he's fast and talented. Just wanted to bring that up.
He is.
And handsome.
All right.
I mean, I still put him in my top 5. It's not like I think he's going to fall off that much. It's just,
sure.
Maybe a little bit.
All right, we're going to move on to the LA Chargers, and that is my team for this breakdown. So let me go down go over my notes here. Yeah, of course. We're going to get to him in just a minute. But I first want to talk about the new offensive coordinator for the Chargers is Joe Lombardi. You know where he's from? He spent 12 years with the Saints and Sean Payton running an offense with a guy named Drew Brees. So what kind of offense do you think the Chargers are going to run? A highly efficient passing game, perhaps? Yeah. Okay. That spells TITS to me. For last year's Rookie of the Year, Justin Herbert. Herbert started as
Tony,
the backup.
That was tits. I just want to make sure you got it. Tony, it's tits.
I was getting ready to Google it.
So Herbert started as the backup last year, but by week 2, he was the starter. And he exploded for 4,300 yards, and 31 touchdowns. He also ran in 5, and I don't think a lot of you realize the guy rushes for some yards, but he did run in 5 rushing touchdowns. So he had 37 total TDs in 15 games as a freaking rookie. And now he gets to run a Saints-style offense that rewards, and we play in a league that rewards efficiency. So that's why I like Justin Herbert. Yeah, I'm all in on him. So from weeks 2 through 17, he finished as quarterback 8. Excuse me, quarterback 5. Throughout week 1, he finished as quarterback 5. He's being drafted as quarterback 8 in ADP. So I expect him to finish in the top 5 this year. He already did that last year. I expect an improvement. This is my sleeper pick of the year, fellas. I'm going Justin Herbert. That is the guy that I think could unseat Patrick Mahomes for points in fantasy. Now, I'm not saying he's not a better quarterback, but the way that they're going to run their offense, he could end up with more fantasy points. And the Chargers are not that good defensively. It keeps them in games and makes them throw, whereas the Chiefs sometimes blow people out and they take the foot off the gas, right? I don't think that's going to happen in LA. I think the Chargers are going to be throwing. That's why I like Herbert. All right,
I want to make sure I got the hot take.
Yeah.
You believe Herbert is going to unseat Mahomes as the top fantasy point getter per quarterback?
I said if there is a guy that could do it, it would be him. I don't.
Are we going hot take? I want to go hot take.
I like Justin Herbert to finish 1, 2, or 3. Okay, and if things go right and everyone stays healthy offensively for them, and including their offensive line, he could be number 1. I'm going to say that right now. All right, let's move on. Austin Eckler should fit in as the poor man's Kamara in that offense. He does have a lot of PPR appeal, but I believe Eckler's being overdrafted at his current ADP. Eazy-E has never rushed for 6,000 yards in any NFL season. And he also has 9 rushing TDs in 56 games. That's right. He only has 9 touchdowns in all his seasons on the ground in 56 games. Let that sink in. So his value is completely dependent on him catching, as John likes to put it, a shit ton of balls. Okay? He would have to catch 100 balls, which I'm not saying he couldn't, but that would be the only way you could justify taking him at his ADP, which is late first round, early second round. I'd like him in the later second round or early third round, but let's remember that Joshua Kelly was drafted last year. They still have Justin Jackson, and these are guys in the rotation that can vulture the goal line carries and the short yardage situations. They also drafted a kid named Larry Roundtree, who could be a sneaky sleeper if things don't work out for Eckler or if he gets hurt. That guy could come in there and steal the show. He was very productive in the SEC, so kind of like him, just to watch on the waiver wire. At wide receiver, you have the dependable Keenan Allen, and when I say dependable, I don't mean by injury standards. I mean he catches the ball when he plays. He's a monster. Okay, he has had an injury-riddled past. Let's not forget 2 seasons in a row where he was out for the year, tearing his ACL back-to-back years. But since then, he's been healthy-ish the last couple years, and he's super dependable. I like Keenan in the 4th or 5th round, but not as my wide receiver 1 just because of the injury risk. I'd love him to be my wide receiver 2. Mike Williams is an athletic freak, and he'll make unbelievable catches, but he just is not consistent enough to draft, in my opinion. He makes miraculous grabs, falls on his back, and breaks his shit. So you can count on death, taxes, and Mike Williams exiting the game with another injury. He's late round fodder at best. Otherwise, the rest of the receiving core is kind of like the Chiefs receiving core. Outside of Tyreek Hill, they're all capable of having explosive games, but they're not consistent, and you can't rely on them in fantasy to even make them draftable. So I guess except for Mecole Hardman, but what do I know? Let's talk about the tight ends. There's Jared Cook at tight end, and I kind of think he's a sneaky pick, like late in the draft as of last round maybe, because they did exit Hunter Henry, who's having clam chowder with Sham Newton right now over in New England. And Cook can be had at the end of the draft, so if it doesn't work out, you can just drop him. But he is capable of double-digit touchdowns with Herbert throwing him the ball with those golden locks flowing in the air. So I do like Jared Cook as a late-round player. The Chargers' D is probably not draftable, but they could be a streaming defense when they play the Broncos twice. They get to play the Patriots. And in the fantasy playoffs, they get to play the Texans, who might and probably won't be. They'll probably will be without Deshaun Watson. So that could be a sneaky pickup very late in the season.
That's a great point.
That's my breakdown of the Chargers.
What the hell of a breakdown.
Oh, it was. Sure was.
Appreciate it. All right, guys, we're moving on to our next team, and that would be the Las Vegas Raiders. And Tony, you got that. Go for it, Poop.
My pizza's here. I ordered a pizza before you started talking with your breakdown. I think it's here. You always spend 40 minutes on a team that you dislike? Or no, I guess you are. I guess you do like the Chargers, right?
I like Herbert, but I don't like the Chargers.
Yeah, well, they're going to be awesome either way, so I appreciate that breakdown.
Thanks.
But I have the Raiders, so all it is just jealousy at this point, because going on and on about the Raiders for 15, 20, 40 minutes or whatever you did, I can't compete with.
That's disingenuous.
Right? I like Carr. Obviously, he's I think he's going to have a little bit better season than last year. He has a little bit more of a mojo going on. For a while there where you're all like not real trustworthy. But you look at his numbers from last year, and they were better than I thought. So he kind of went under my radar. But as I was looking him up, I'm like, shit, that's not bad. I mean, you can draft him fairly early. But overall for the team, it looks pretty good. Let me see here. Since I don't have anything else on this guy, I didn't even realize that they have John Brown, which that guy has like sickle cell anemia or whatever. He misses about 5 games a season, but it's a decent, addition. And when you got Ruggs and Waller, I mean, shit, those guys are madmen. I mean, Waller where did he come from, dude? Watching that guy last year, I was like, who is this guy, man?
Darren the Fantasy Walrus? Love that guy.
Damn, and then once they caught on to him, they still couldn't stop him. So that was pretty awesome.
He's giant.
And then you got Drake backing up Josh Jacobs. I love Jacobs. He missed a few games, didn't he, I think? But Drake's not, bad as a backup. But obviously the big question is going to be their defense. Yeah, I don't have much else to say. But that defense is going to get rocked, I think. I don't buy it. There's a few people that were talking up when I was doing some reading, really out of Las Vegas and out of Oakland still, some sports writers were trying to talk up the offensive line, the defensive line. But when you read the numbers on those guys, it's not very convincing. But will Carr have a good year? I think he will. Will they win some big games? Yeah, I think it's going to be sort of like last year, though. I don't see them going real far. But fantasy standpoint, Carr could be a solid starting QB for you. And, when you got Ruggs and Waller, sure, and Josh Jacobs. Other than that, I'll be honest, I don't have a lot to say about these guys. It's the Raiders.
What I thought it's interesting is I just looked it up because you were right. Carr's like one of those guys you don't really know. He was 13. He was QB 13 in the rankings, right above Lamar Jackson. He was one above Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson was 14th. Derek Carr was 13.
Lamar Jackson missed some games though, right? COVID.
Yeah, so he got 2 more points per game. Jackson did. So it's almost
the Raiders are pretty boring. You picked a team that's not fun to really go over because they just, other than Waller, they don't have like super great weapons. So
Ruggs is awesome. I love that guy.
Yeah, he's got a chance to explode.
Hopefully he'll show it though. Like I thought he was kind
of. That's the point. He's very talented, but are they gonna put it together?
Did they keep Aguilar or did he go someplace else?
No, I think he went to Belichick. Isn't he in New England or something like that?
Oh yeah, I think you're right. I think he did go to.
All right. So the cellar dwellers, according to the experts in the division, is the Denver Broncos. Johnny Ballgame, take it away.
So usually if you have 2 quarterbacks, you don't have 1 quarterback. And that's their issue right now. They've got Locke. They've got Teddy B. I think Locke is going to be given every opportunity to start, but I think they brought in Teddy B because they know Locke isn't going to be able to hold that job. I don't think he's going to. Teddy B is interesting because on his passes of over 20 yards or more, I saw some sort of stat like he was like number 1 in passes over 20 yards or more and efficiency, touchdowns, all this stuff. I was like, wow, I had no idea. But then he has these very pedestrian games where he just doesn't throw it down the field. So I like Teddy. I think he'll probably end up taking over. And I might take him as a backup. I would stay away from Locke. I have nothing for him. Running backs, kind of a meh. I give him a B-, like is my grade. Melvin Gordon, he was okay last year. I had him on my team. He ended up with like 900 yards. He was okay. He didn't do very much in passing. Sorry.
COVID.
Contract year, though, which I think is actually pretty good. So Melvin Gordon in a contract year is always better than Melvin Gordon in a non-contract year. They've got a rookie, though, Javonte Williams, who I'm really excited about. I think that guy's going to be good. He's one of the guys I want to get in a little bit later round. And the rest, other than Royce, what's his first name?
Freeman.
Royce Freeman, not our Royce.
Please stop coughing.
Yeah, I know, no kidding. Then the wide receiver group, I give an A, though. God, I wish they had a good quarterback to throw to them because Sutton is a grown man. That guy's going to be back from an injury, and he's just so good. He's going to dominate this year. I love Jerry Jeudy. That guy can run a route better than most people. I really like your condom tip, Tony. But, yeah, I think Judy's going to have an incredible year. And then Tim Patrick, underrated. KJ Hamler's a young guy that I think is going to be really good. I love their receivers. And then I've already talked to you about how much I love their defense. Tony mentioned their tight end, Noah Fant. He teases me every year. Is this the year that he puts it together? And I agree. He has all the talent in the world. He's got size. He's got speed. He's got okay hands, not the greatest hands. Sometimes he drops key balls and times he shouldn't. And every year I'm like, this is the Noah Fant year. I think I've had him on my team every year for the last 3 years. At some point, I picked him up and dropped him because somebody else drafted him and dropped him. And he's just one of those guys that you go, finally he's taken off because he'll have 2 good games and then he'll suck it down the stretch. So I think their defense is really good. I think it's completely underrated. It's being drafted way too late. And I think they're gonna be phenomenal on the defensive side. So, but yeah, I still think they're going to be the cellar dwellers. So that's all I got.
Excellent breakdown, John. Appreciate your work there. So in this division, are there any teams that you think could challenge the Chiefs, or is it just going to be the Chiefs just running away with it?
It's the Chiefs.
Yeah.
It's just not a very good division otherwise.
Yeah. I think if Denver would have traded for, Aaron Rodgers, that might have.
I do too.
Things.
I do too, because I think Javonte could unseat Melvin Gordon and have a very exciting backfield. I already told you I love the receivers. The quarterback situation, though, it's just bringing me down. It's giving me the blues. And they've got an unbelievable defense. So yeah, if they had a real quarterback, they could challenge, but they don't.
The Fantasy Reaper.
You've got something.
What is that?
Yeah.
Guys, it's the Fantasy Reaper.
Yay.
All right, so the Fantasy Reaper.
Guy.
So we're gonna pick some players that used to be fantasy studs, but now the Fantasy Reaper has come to put them out of their misery and send them into fantasy irrelevance. I'm gonna start it off. My first Fantasy Reaper, Todd Gurley.
Ooh.
On my list too.
Yeah, I can see that.
So Todd Gurley is only 27 years old, and in 2017 and 2018, he averaged 20 touchdowns and 1,900 yards from scrimmage per season. But then Todd Gurley started to look old in 2019. And then in 2020, he was traded to the Falcons, where he ran the ball like a girlie.
Hey, see what he did there?
Yeah, I think.
Now he's collecting checks for being unemployed like the rest of the waiters in California. And now he doesn't even want to work because he gets more money from the government.
Wow.
But when the government cheese stops coming in, he'll want to come back and probably join another team. And some dumbass team will give him one more shot. But let me just go ahead and grab my Skype and put old young Todd out of his misery. Yeah, to Gurley.
Wow.
You're a goon.
Wow.
All right.
I don't think any of us can follow that. I think that's. I just made a list of people. I
did too.
Thing written out.
It's all good. So everyone's going to give me one of their Fantasy Reaper. We're going to go around the room. We'll go to Tony. Who needs to be put out of their misery, Tony?
I'm going to go Edgerrin James because he's retired.
That was easy.
I'm done. No.
Pete Johnson.
Yeah. Actually, I'm going to go AJ Green.
Ooh, my list.
Oh, nice. Yeah, it pains me to say it. I I just don't. I mean, the guy was invincible, had his injury, and it did something. I mean, okay, now I understand Burrow's young, new coaching staff, blah, blah, blah. But how come they did not connect? There was something missing there. And I think it's AJ Green. You move him to a new system, you move him to the West. And unfortunately, I think that poor dear soul is done. So I'm going with AJ Green.
Excellent call. Okay, John, what do you want to put to rest?
Gosh, my list is long. But I'm going to go with Le'Veon Bell.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Right.
Le'Veon Bell. Such talent. Such a great. Had a huge offer from the Steelers. They could have been just enjoying themselves all these years. But he got cocky, and then he sat out, and then he went to the Jets, and then he sucked balls on the Jets, so they traded the Chiefs. And when Andy Reid can't find a way to use you as a tool, you are a tool. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
All right. That was a good one. All right, Royce, who do you want to put to bed?
So I guess we'll stick with the Steelers here. Antonio Brown.
Yeah, he's on my list.
Right? Okay, look. The only reason why he's playing with the Bucs is because he has Tom Brady's phone number, right? Luckily. He got a gift in the Super Bowl, but I mean, come on. Remember him, this guy 5-6 years ago? He was the number one pick in some leagues, right? I mean, he was just unbelievably good. Yep. He's kind of fallen on hard times, all due pretty much to his being himself. So Matt is my guy. Put him to rest, Chuck.
All right, we're going to put Antonio Brown to rest. I got a second one. You guys want to hear it?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Andy Dalton.
Oh yeah.
Andy Dalton in 2013.
He's your Bears starting quarterback right now.
Yeah.
And in 2013, he had 4,300 yards and 33 touchdowns. And in 2016, he had 4,200 yards and 18 touchdowns. Then he was on the Cowboys last year in a prolific offense that Dak was flourishing in until he snapped his celery. Dalton got his chance, and he failed miserably. Now he's on the Bears, competing with the rookie Fields to be the starting quarterback, which he's eventually going to lose. And so I bring my Skype and put Big Red out of his misery.
The Red Rifle.
Die, Andy Dalton, die.
Oh, wow.
We got real violent. Yeah. There's people who can help, Chuck.
You're a football.
All right. So, guys, I wanted to do you guys have any more Fantasy Reaper candidates?
I got one.
Go for it.
This guy is at one time the best running back in football for many years. Then he started to beat his son or whatever, allegedly. But it's Adrian Peterson.
Started to beat his son.
It's time, right? Isn't it time? Let's just hang up the cleats. You can use them to, beat whoever you want to, but I just don't think. Let's just go rest. Let's go. He'll probably be in the Hall of Fame. Let's enjoy ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got Mark Ingram on there. I don't think he's.
Yeah.
He had a few good seasons. I like that guy.
Oh wait, he's with Houston, isn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, thank God! To the rescue.
Wow,
Oh.
careers go to die in Houston.
Exactly.
That is the fantasy graveyard for the Grim Reaper. Rice, you got anybody else?
No, I was going to put Gronk in there, but I don't know. I mean, I guess he's still serviceable. He's not a beast like he was 5-6 years ago, but I don't know. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I don't disagree with you. He might be all right.
He'll be all right. He's not going to be what he was. I don't think he's completely dead because I think he's still useful, but I think they're going to try to see what they've got in O.J. Howard this year, see if they can get that guy going. They've got, who's the other? Brate?
Cameron Brate.
Cameron Brate, yeah. There's just too many mouths to feed there for him to be what he used to be.
Right.
I've got here's some people I've got that are still playing. I think James Conner's done. I think Tevin Coleman is done.
Ooh, yeah.
Devin Campbell, Tevin Campbell can sing, man.
Yeah.
Of course.
Zach Ertz.
Yeah.
Still can't find anybody to trade for him. So
Those are all good candidates, guys. I'm ready to kill some fools from fantasy football. So we'll save some of our other stuff for a week in the future. But now I wanted to discuss our listeners contest that we're going to have, where we all draft a team. We're going to put together our team, and you're going to compete as the listeners against us in a 12-team league. And I was thinking maybe we should try the auction format for the draft. John, have you ever tried an auction?
yeah.
You're not interested.
How he feels.
It's all right.
It's fun, man. Have you ever done it, Tony?
Yeah.
And what did you
I'm
pick?
fine. Whatever we do. Yeah, it's fine.
It depends, but yeah, no, I'm game for anything.
Royce, have you ever tried the auction style?
Never. It'd be my first time.
Okay. Well, I'm going to leave it up to the viewers. So in the comments, if you want to get into our listeners league, go ahead and tell us why we should pick you. Also tell us, would you rather do an auction draft, try something new, or would you rather do the standard, snake draft like everyone does? It's up to you guys, but we'd love to hear from you. We appreciate you guys listening. We're going to be doing this every week. Thank you, Johnny Ballgame. Thank you, Rolls-Royce. Thank you, Tony.
Sir Poops a lot.
Sir Poops a lot. And the Fantasy Reaper telling you guys aloha. We'll see you next week.
Thanks.
Cheers. Thanks, guys.